Welcome back to the Man2Woman podcast, episode 12. I'm your host, Jackson Chapman, and as you can see, my co-host Carson Chapman is not here, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can also see that I am not in my apartment. I'm actually in Chicago, which is going to introduce our special guest for today. This person asked to be on the podcast nonstop. This person also asked to talk about that person on the podcast nonstop. So I thought, why not go and have this person on the podcast? And it is my amazing girlfriend, Melanie Schiffer.
Hello. I don't ask all the time, just to preface.
You ask quite often.
Sometimes.
But you do ask every episode, did you talk about me?
Yes.
Yes.
Because I like to know, because then I can go to that part and find it.
Because you don't like the other parts?
No, I do.
Oh, okay,
I
sure.
do. They're okay.
Sure. So this is my girlfriend, Melanie, and as I mentioned before, we are in Chicago. We're on Christmas break from college, and so I came to visit her and her family. And so, we are both at Murray State, so I'm sure people are wondering, Melanie, how did you get to Murray State when you're from Chicago?
Well, we all know John Morant.
John.
And my dad actually knew him, so he said, oh, why don't you just apply at Murray State, because there's no application fee. So I applied. They gave me the best deal, and I wanted to come to the South, so here I am.
So what are you doing at Murray State again?
Nursing.
Oh, nursing. So
Yes.
are you enjoying nursing?
Oh, very much so. I had my first clinicals this year.
Yeah.
They've been interesting.
Yeah, to say the least. Yeah,
Yes.
she's told me some horror stories from her clinicals so far.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to give the people a little background of how me and her met, because you're thinking a girl from Chicago, a girl from Murray, Kentucky, or a guy from Murray, Kentucky. How did they meet, and why are they on the Man2Woman podcast? Oh, sorry. Man2Woman podcast this week. It is Man2Woman. So I'm a sophomore and she's a junior at Murray State. But last year is when we officially met. I was a freshman playing IM football with Sigep and one of my good friends, Aiden Kolb. He was dating one of her really good friends. Her name's Emily. And we had just finished the Sigep football game. She's hanging out with Emily and I'm hanging out with Aiden. And we kind of got in this group of four, and they were talking, so it was just left for me and her to start talking, and I felt like we just kind of clicked instantly.
Yeah, I guess we clicked a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. So
yeah.
So then we continued to talk a little bit. Didn't really snap or whatever. We were not in the talking stage yet, but we kept hanging out. We kept seeing each other at these places, and then you actually added me on Snap.
Yes. No, I followed you on Instagram.
You followed me on Instagram, then I added you on Snap.
Yes,
and
he
then
was too chicken to do it first.
Yes.
So someone had to step up.
Exactly.
And started off.
I was a little chicken. I was like, this girl's way too pretty for me. I got no shot. And then even after I added her on Snap, I didn't even snap her for a week. She had to snap me first, which is a funny story because I was working at the movie theater all day. I had worked a double, so I was there from basically 12 p.m. to midnight, and she snaps me that she's hanging out with some of our friends playing board games, and I was like, you know what, I'm exhausted, but I kind of want to go see this girl. And, we started snapping after that. We went on our first date. Melanie, you want to tell the people where I took you on our first date?
Popeyes.
Classic. I mean,
so classic.
Where else would you take a girlfriend on a first date? So we went to Popeyes because she wasn't hungry. She claimed she wasn't hungry, didn't want any food, and then we just talked forever. We talked till like 2 or 3 in the morning, just sitting there in the parking lot just talking, and just clicked instantly. And here we are, almost a year later.
Yes.
And
that was an 8-hour date.
It was an 8-hour date.
8 hours of a date.
So find you somebody that you can talk to for 8 hours. We are here now almost a year later. Our anniversary is January 15th, so we're we're a little more than a month away from our 1-year anniversary. Yes. And I would say one of the first things that we kind of connected on was our love for the Cubs/Cardinals. I found a girl that can talk baseball with me, and I was instantly attracted to that. And so, how did you feel about potentially dating a Cardinals fan?
Oh, it was controversial. I thought, this is a really nice guy, but his only bad side is that he's a Cardinals fan. And I'm sure he thought the same thing about me, but then with the news this week...
Yeah, recently we've learned that Willson Contreras has left the Cubs to go join the superior St. Louis Cardinals on a 5-year deal. And so, Melanie, as a fan of a rebuilding team, how does this loss of Willson Contreras affect the Cubs next year?
Well, it shattered my heart, personally.
Just like Javi did.
Just like Javi, just like Rizzo, just like
just
Brian.
like, all
one
of them.
after another. It's just, there's nobody left from the 2016 team except Jason
Kyle
Hayward and Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah, Kyle Hendricks, yep.
Yes, which you guys can have Jason Hayward back.
I don't want him. I don't think the Cardinals want him.
Nobody wants him.
No.
But, I mean, I don't think it'll be the same because I feel like he was kind of the face of the Cubs
You'd
this
say
year.
the heart and soul of the Cubs?
He was like a leader this year just because he had been on it for so long. I feel like he kind of took a lot of people under his wing. Like I know he took Christopher Morel under his wing, which I personally really like.
Yeah, that's a big part of your future is Christopher Morel. I think he'll be solid.
Yes.
So you got a nice future to look for. We talked about Pete Crow Armstrong. It's pretty solid. Nico Horner had a really good season this year. So just hold on tight. You know.
Well, Ian Happ hasn't left yet, but I'm sure.
I'm sure he's gone pretty soon.
Yes.
He's a pretty solid player. And as a Cardinals fan, reacting to the Wilson Contreras deal, I was ecstatic. You know, we just lost our longtime catcher Yachty to retirement. Man has been just the face of the Cardinals for as long as I can remember. So he retired, and we had this void to fill with a catcher. And I love Yachty, but the past couple of seasons, he has not been what we needed him to be offensively. And Wilson Contreras is going to fill that void that Yachty didn't have. You know, Wilson Contreras was one of the best hitting catchers in the league last year. And so I was very happy about the Cardinals getting Wilson Contreras. I know you were a tad upset, but...
Oh, yeah, just a little.
Just a little bit upset. I mean, the day that Wilson signed, she legitimately would not talk to me. She was so upset with me.
I was playing Traitor by Olivia Rodrigo.
She did, yes. She was not happy. We actually went, this is a funny story, so we actually went to a Cubs-Cardinals game earlier this year where Albert Pujols in the bottom of the 8th hit his 695th home run.
And everybody in the entire stadium was standing. I was probably the only person sitting down.
You want to talk about your experience as a Cubs fan in St. Louis that day?
There were so many people who just harassed me. They were like, "Oh, I don't want to sit by her."
Yeah, it was a little uncalled for.
I don't want to be in the elevator with you, and I'm just... I don't get the hostility.
Okay, roles reversed. If I'm in Chicago,
yes,
going to a Cubs game.
But since it's me, it's different. So.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
sure. But you know, I was like, all right, guys, I understand she's a Cubs fan. Let's knock it off a little bit. But she endured the hostile environment in St. Louis.
Yes.
But Wilson Contreras, in his interview talking about joining the Cardinals, he said the moment that he knew he wanted to be a Cardinal was when Albert hit that 695th home run against them. And that was pretty cool that me and her were actually at that game. I actually have a funny video. I'm going to actually insert it in the video right now if you're watching the YouTube video. So, Editor Jackson, edit. Put the video of me just laughing in your face after Albert hit the home run. I'm sure you're gonna love that part of the video.
It was really cool.
It was so cool.
So cool.
So, you know, that was kind of like our first, I guess, bond that we had as we were friends at the first part of our relationship, and then we kind of informed into a relationship. So that was I'd say one of the main things that attracted me to you was like, oh wow, you actually know baseball. You can like talk to me about, but you were a Cubs fan. So it evened out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, you've listened to the Man2Woman podcast.
Yes, every episode.
You know what we do. And so, would you like to introduce what we're doing today on the Man2Woman podcast today?
We're doing Disney
/
movies,
Pixar.
/ Disney Pixar movies, tourney time.
Tourney time. Me and her, we sat in my apartment the other night and we compiled this list. And I'm very excited to go over these matchups of movies from our childhood. It's Disney and Pixar, not just Disney or not just Pixar. So you'll see a little combination of the two. And so, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. So, the 1-seeded Toy Story versus the 16-seed WALL-E. Toy Story is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I wasn't a big fan of WALL-E, so I'm going Toy Story already.
Yeah, I think I'll also pick Toy Story just because WALL-E always kind of weirded me out.
I agree. There are so many people who are like, WALL-E's like my favorite Disney Pixar movie. And I'm like, it's kind of weird.
At the time, we were so young that the idea of being in the post-apocalyptic world kind of went right over my head, and I just kind of was confused the whole time. I didn't
love the movie. I found it very boring because there wasn't much dialogue going on. It was just two robots falling in love.
Yeah,
but,
and then the people are all obese
Yeah.
on the airplane or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Also,
but-
so this is the Toy Story franchise, not like one specific movie. But if you had to rank Toy Story 1 through 4, how are you ranking it? Let's see how your rankings compare to mine.
I didn't even see 4. So
Okay,
I'm not
so
gonna
you
put
can't
that
even
on
see.
there.
So 4 is dead last on your list.
Yeah, I really like 3 because I feel like it's a nice little coming of age for Andy. And then I'd probably go 1 then 2.
I'm probably 3, 2, 1, 4. The last part of 3, just Woody saying "so long, partner" when Andy's
That's
driving
so
to college.
sad.
10-year-old me was in tears. You can ask Christy Chapman, my mother. She saw me bawl my eyes out because it was over. I didn't think we were going to get another Toy Story, and we did with Toy Story 4. Very mid movie. There was no reason to make it. So Toy Story is going to beat Wall-E here. And then the next matchup we have is the 9-seeded Aladdin versus the 8-seed Ratatouille. What's your thoughts here, Melanie?
I don't know. I'm probably going to go Aladdin just because I was a big Disney princess girl back in the day. And I liked Ratatouille, but I feel like it was one of those movies you only see once every few years. Like when I was a kid. I didn't watch it as often as I did the Disney princesses, so that's why.
Yeah, a lot of people, again, love the Ratatouille story. A rat who becomes a chef, which is so stupid to say out loud. But I really enjoyed the Aladdin, especially the live version of Aladdin, which I think a lot of Disney movies that are live version turn out to not be as good as the original cartoon version. But I feel like Aladdin did a really good job with their live version. And so for that, I'm going to go Aladdin here along with Melanie. All right, so now we have the 5-seeded Frozen versus the 12-seeded Little Mermaid. Now, these are two movies that are more so for girls other than guys, but I have seen both these movies because I was a child at one point, and I was so annoyed with Frozen. I did not enjoy how much publicity it got, how much everybody was singing their songs, and I mean, Let It Go was on every single radio station.
Yeah.
And
True.
so
I think we were in middle school when Frozen came out. I do remember, I think I was in 6th grade.
yeah,
So-
and then Little Mermaid came out when we were super young.
would've been young.
I mean, I don't even know if me and you were born yet.
I don't know.
And so, Little Mermaid, there's a live action of Little Mermaid coming out. I don't know if you knew that, but
Yes, I did know that.
so I guess we can see how they portray Little Mermaid live action. I'm gonna go Frozen because it's so popular, even though it's not like one of my favorite movies.
I'm gonna go Little Mermaid, just because I grew up watching that all the time. I love all the songs. I used to sing all the songs as a little girl. And like I said, I was a big Disney princess girl. I was a Disney princess almost every year for Halloween. So I'm a sucker for a good Disney princess movie.
So speaking of princesses, the next one is Princess and the Frog, 13 seed versus the 4 seed Incredibles. This is a no contest for a guy. For a girl, this might be a contest, but guy-wise, everybody loved the Incredibles if you're a little boy. Princess and the Frog, cute story. It's whatever. But I think Incredibles, the 4 seed, clears Princess and the Frog.
Yeah, I mean, I like both. I really like Princess and the Frog. I think it's cute. I love Tiana and the story and the twist it has on the fairy tale. And she is a Disney princess, but I'm not going to go Disney princess
Ooh.
this time. Just because I remember watching The Incredibles all the time.
Yep.
It's just such a cool story, like the family of superheroes.
The family of superheroes. That is a cool story.
I feel like that's a classic one because we were actual kids when that
Yes.
came out, and we might have been in middle school when Princess and the Frog came out.
And the thing about these movies is that when they come out with like second or third movies, us as adults are going to go watch them because that's like, I remember when Incredibles 2 came out in theaters, I was in high school and I was like, well, I got to go watch it. I know I'm 17.
Incredibles 2 was decent.
It was
It wasn't
okay.
as good as the first one,
Yeah.
but it
Like,
was still.
I remember like, I'm like 16 or 17, Incredibles 2 comes out, I'm like, well, I got to go see it. My
Yeah.
younger self would yell at me if I don't go see Incredibles 2. So I'm going Incredibles over Princess and the Frog, and I think Melanie is as well.
Yes.
So now we have the 3-seeded Lion King versus the 14-seed Beauty and the Beast. This is another princess movie versus another... I wouldn't say this is more of a manly movie of Lion King, but I would say it appealed more to the boy audience than Beauty and the Beast did. So go ahead and give an argument for Beauty and the Beast.
Okay. Well, fun fact, I'm going to see the Lion King musical this weekend, so we'll see how that is. But I probably will also go Beauty and the Beast here, just because, like I said, I think I watched a princess movie almost every day when I was a kid. And I love Belle also because I was a brunette as a little girl, and us girls, we like to relate to our, hair color princess. Yeah. So if you're blonde, you maybe like Cinderella. If you're redhead, definitely liked Ariel. Since I was brunette, I liked Belle. So that was probably one of my like top 5 Disney movies.
So you're going a 14/3.
Yes.
That's a big old upset right
Beast
there.
A lot.
So I am not going Beauty and the Beast. I'm going Lion King. The opening scene, the circle of life stuff, Simba coming into his own, and then Mufasa dying, and then
that was so sad.
Simba taking on Scar. What a fight scene that was.
Our first childhood trauma
was watching Mufasa fall off the ledge. Yes. And Simba sitting there watching it. You're just like, how's this kid going to deal with this?
No.
How much trauma is he going to have? But he prevails because he's Simba.
True.
There's actually a Lion King 1.5.
Oh yeah, I've never seen it.
I've never seen. I don't know if I've even seen Lion King 2, but it's so odd that they came out with a 1.5. I've never heard of another movie.
They're trying to be different. Trying to
different. Do you Lion King? I guess, but I'm going Lion King here. So now we have the 11 seed Up versus the 6 seed Monsters Inc. And I think this is where we're going to differ here. So I know that you are not the biggest fan of Up.
No.
Meanwhile, I am not the biggest fan of Monsters Inc. It's good. It is good. But I just have vivid memories of watching Up with me, my brother, and my cousins right before school started. We'd go to our grandma's house and she'd cook us meals, and then we'd go watch Up before summer was over. And I really enjoyed the story of Up. It also has such a good storyline. The old man, it shows, I love the first part of the movie where it's showing his, basically, from birth to when his wife dies, and that's the whole just progression and transition through that. And it's so sad. And then he becomes friends with this little Boy Scout, and they go on these missions together. Russell, and then their house is lifted up by balloons. Like, I just love that story. So I'm going to go Up over Monsters Inc. Even though Monsters Inc. deserves its flowers, it is a good movie, and I know you were going to talk about Monsters Inc. here.
Well, actually, I want to talk about Up too, because when I saw that in the theater, it's rated G. It is for the youngest kids possible, but that movie scared me so bad that I made my mother walk me out of the theater.
Oh no!
And we had to wait until my brother and my stepdad were done watching the movie, because I don't know what it was. I think it was the Dobermans, and then that old guy, I don't know his name, he's like the pilot.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
They scared me, like, for real. He was so mean, and I had to leave the theater. And so, due to childhood trauma on that one, I will pick Monsters, Inc. But also, I love Monsters, Inc. I think I was talking to my dad about doing this, and he was like, you probably watched that movie once a week when you were a kid. And I love Monsters, Inc. There's nothing else I can say about that.
So, this is a good matchup there, but this is, I think, going to be the best matchup of the first round. I think this will get the most arguments and debate between the two of us. It is the 7-seed Moana versus the 10-seeded Tangled. And I know who you're picking, so go ahead and tell me your pick and your side of why you're picking this movie.
So, I love Tangled. The Tangled soundtrack, I will sing all day, every day.
She does sing.
I just
a
sang
lot.
it in the car.
Yes, she sings it quite a bit.
Can I sing on the podcast?
Go for it.
No, I won't sing on the podcast.
Okay, she got stage fright.
Yeah, I'm not going to hurt the audience ears, but I love Tangled and all the songs, and Flynn Rider, girls, we know.
Little heartthrob.
And, I mean, I love Rapunzel already, the story of Rapunzel, and the turn that they had on this with Mother Gothel and all that stuff. I love this movie. I will pick this one.
So, I just watched Tangled for the first time with her, actually.
I made him watch it.
And she made me watch it, but I am such a Moana truther. Moana is so good. The soundtrack, like you talked about in Tangled, I think the soundtrack to Moana is one of the best in Disney history. And, Disney kind of had this bad streak of movies after Frozen. I can't recall them all, but once they came out with Moana, it was like, okay, you're back on track with producing solid movies. The Rock, you got The Rock to be in a Disney movie and sing some of the songs in there. I feel like that's an accomplishment in itself. Moana has such a good storyline. It's this island princess who doesn't want to live by her parents' rules anymore. She wants to do whatever she wants to do, and she finds The Rock. Why can I not remember his name? Maui, yes, thank you. Maui is he's a demigod, and what can he say besides "you're welcome"? And so I love Moana. It is a movie that I like singing. It's a movie that I just enjoy. I'll watch it. Even though I'm a 20-year-old male, I will watch Moana just for the fun of it. So I'm going Moana.
The only song I really like from that movie is How Far I'll Go. I
Which
don't
is,
really like any of the other
but that's all you
ones.
need. Let's think about it.
I don't really like You're Welcome. I think it's annoying, but I mean...
To each their own. Okay.
Okay.
So now we have, I don't think this is much of a contest. Now we have 2-seeded Finding Nemo versus 15-seed Lilo and Stitch. Finding Nemo is one of those movies, if you didn't watch as a kid when you were our age, what were you doing? Like,
living under a rock.
I mean, your parents didn't do a good job raising you, I guess, if you didn't watch Finding Nemo. Okay, I won't go that far. But I feel like Finding Nemo was at every babysitter or every nanny that you went to. I remember watching this movie at my nanny's so many times.
It's cute.
Lilo and Stitch is a cutesy movie, but it's nowhere near the Finding Nemo status.
Yeah. I'm going to also go Finding Nemo just because I feel like I've only seen Lilo and Stitch maybe twice in my whole life. And he's an alien, and then he comes to her, and they become friends, but that's kind of it. I can't even remember anything else really that
Nemo
happens.
has such a good storyline too.
Yeah.
Like this father who lost his wife and has a son who's disabled with one fin, and he loses his son, tracks him across the entire world to find him. The fact that he's able to find his son, even when he went through so many different countries and just ways of life, like it's unbelievable. So, Finding Nemo is another thing that I kind of base these movies on is the rewatchability. I have no idea if that's a word.
I mean, sure.
But I feel like Finding Nemo, even us as 20-year-olds are still able to watch it.
I would still watch it.
There's some of these movies that I would, if we said, let's stop the podcast and go watch this, I'd be like, cool, let's go do it.
Yeah.
So that's Nemo for me.
Also, that part in Finding Nemo where they go,
she touched the butt. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
ASMR on the podcast. Okay.
All right, so now we have the Elite Eight. Do you remember your picks?
Yes.
Okay, so I am Toy Story versus Aladdin. I also think you're Toy Story versus Aladdin.
I am.
Aladdin, again, great movie. Good live action movie. Good soundtrack. But you're not beating out Toy Story. I'm sorry. Toy Story was too much of my childhood to get beat out by Aladdin.
I agree. I think Toy Story goes first just because I feel like it was just more for everybody. Like Aladdin, I mean, it was more for girls just because of Disney Princess. And I mean, I think that more people just saw Toy Story. And plus, I feel like adults even liked it.
Oh,
they
yeah.
just went and saw it.
I'm sure my parents, when I was watching as a kid, were like, "Oh, this is an enjoyable movie."
Yeah, and let's just like not to say another Disney Princess movie because I love all of them, but I mean it's just another Disney Princess movie. So
you're going Toy Story
I'm
as well?
Toy Story.
All right, so I am Frozen versus The Incredibles, and you are actually the two upsets. You are Little Mermaid. No, you went Incredibles, right?
Yeah, Little Mermaid versus Incredibles for me.
Mine's Frozen versus Incredibles. I talked about how annoyed as a kid I got Frozen and The Incredibles. I could go on and on about how good it is. You have a family of superpowers, and you have the villain arc of Syndrome actually being a fan of Mr. Incredible and then turning out to be the villain, which is just kind of just a good storyline in itself. Frozen, kind of mid, sorry. I'm going Incredibles.
Okay, not to agree with you again, but I think I will because I really like The Incredibles too. I feel like a lot of like the Disney Pixar movies are just the classics, and I mean I just remember watching The Incredibles all the time on road trips, and I don't know, I think I like the storyline better than The Little Mermaid because again, not to say it's another Disney Princess movie, but I mean it's cute. But I feel like The Incredibles has just a better storyline. And again, it's for all ages. It's for either gender. So
yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
So my next matchup is Lion King versus Up, and you are Lion King. No, you and Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast versus Monsters, Inc.
I'll let you go ahead.
For me. Okay. I'm still going to pick Monsters, Inc. Because that has been one of my favorite Disney movies. I think it still might be my favorite Disney movie to this day. I love Monsters, Inc. I love Boo. If I could be Boo for Halloween next year, I would do it in a heartbeat. I love Monsters, Inc. I love Mike and Sully. I think they're so funny. Yeah. Okay. I know I love the Disney Princess movies, and I keep hating on them. now in the second round, but I really like Monsters Inc. is my
So,
favorite.
for tournament style, you kind of pick a Cinderella story in the first round, and then you're not going to see what I did there. Cinderella.
Yes, Cinderella story.
Sorry, you didn't go with Cinderella in the second round, so you're going Monsters Inc.
Yes.
I'm Lion King versus Up. Lion King, the live action movie was so mid that it's kind of turning me off from Lion King. I remember watching it at the Calvert City Drive-In, and I actually fell asleep watching it because I was so bored with. I just felt like it wasn't as vibrant, or it wasn't as attention grabbing as the first one, or as the cartoon version was. And I could be completely wrong on that take, and I don't really care. So for that reason, Up doesn't have a live action version because it kind of is live action because it's based on humans. It's animated. And I really do just like Up. It brought me a lot of joy just hanging out with my cousins and my brother one last time before school started. I use nostalgia factor a lot when we do these movie rankings. Yeah. I kind of did that with the Christmas movies. I'm going to do that again here with Up over Lion King, which is kind of a big upset, 11 seed versus 3 seed. And so you are, in this next matchup, you are Tangled versus Nemo, and I'm Moana versus Nemo. So you can go ahead and go with your Tangled versus Nemo. Okay. This is probably a big decision for you.
This is a big decision for me. I'm not big into decision making, but I will for this one. I love Tangled. I love Tangled. I love the soundtrack. I love everything about Tangled. I mean, I will sing the songs, just unironically listen to the songs. That's probably the only soundtrack I will just listen to.
Just randomly. For fun?
Just for fun. You know, if I'm getting ready in the morning. I just love everything about it. And I will watch that movie once a day. If you let me, I would. If I had the time to. So I'm going to pick Tangled. So
I'm Moana versus Nemo. I think these storylines are both amazing. I thought it really just... I really can't find a flaw in the movie. And here's the one deciding factor I'm going to pick between... And this is going to be my deciding factor of who I pick. Moana had music. Nemo did not have music. And I know that's kind of... Well, this is a musical-ish movie. This is not.
Both relating to the ocean.
Both relating to the ocean. And also Finding Dory wasn't that good, so that kind of deters how good Finding Nemo was. Moana was a one and done. Yes. You didn't need a Moana 2 because Moana was so good. So I know that Nemo wasn't a musical movie and Moana was, but I think that's what made Moana so good is because the soundtrack, even though you said you only liked one song from it, I enjoyed the soundtrack. If I had to listen to a soundtrack like you are with Tangled, I would probably pick Moana. So I'm going another upset. I'm going 7C Moana over Finding Nemo. And now we're on to the Final Four.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so my Final Four is Toy Story, Incredibles, Up, and Moana. And what's your Final Four?
Mine is Toy Story, Incredibles, Monsters, Inc., and Tangled.
All right. Do you want to go ahead with your Toy Story versus Incredibles debate?
Sure. I'm probably going to pick The Incredibles.
Ooh.
I really like that movie.
Hot take.
Mrs. Incredible, just a queen.
A queen.
I know why the boys like her.
Oh,
but
wow.
I like her because, she knows what she's doing. She doesn't need any man to, in the beginning she's like, leave the saving to the men? I don't think so.
Ooh, little woman.
Love that. I love
woman
her. And I love their family, too. I feel like they're just a fun family to watch. They would have a reality show if they could.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, I'm going to go The Incredibles.
Yeah, it's a good pick. This is a tough one. I feel like I watch both of these movies so often. Toy Story 1, 2, 3 are all just amazing. And Incredibles and Incredibles 2. Incredibles 2 was also very good. I don't know if you got around to watching Incredibles 2, but I enjoyed it too. This is such a tough one, but if childhood me had to pick between Toy Story and Incredibles, I still gotta go Toy Story. I love the Incredibles. I do. You got a tough matchup here in Toy Story. If you were on the other side of the bracket, I think it'd be Incredibles versus Toy Story. But I can't pick this. I can't pick against Toy Story. It's just 1, 2, and 3, and even though 4 is bad, 1, 2, and 3 make up for 4 being bad.
Okay.
So then the next matchup is actually different between us. You are Monsters, Inc. versus Finding Nemo. Or, yeah, you're Monsters, Inc. versus Tangled. And I am Up versus... No. Right? Am I?
You're Up.
Yeah, I'm Up versus Moana. So Up versus Moana. Up, you had a good story. 11 seed getting all the way to the Final Four, but against a powerhouse, even though Moana's a 7 seed, against a powerhouse like Moana, sadly your run here as a solid movie has come to an end. Even though you're still such a great movie, I still have to go Moana. Again, a 20-year-old man raving this much about Moana is kind of weird, but I don't really care. So
she is technically a Disney princess.
She is, and Maui was so good. I loved the whole. It felt like a Hawaiian vibe the entire time, and
there wasn't a romance in it because
I agree. Yes, there really didn't have to be.
He was kind of more like a brother or figure to her almost. Not father.
And because like they were fighting each other.
Yeah.
Like they were arguing nonstop. I thought that the little chicken that was with Moana all the time was cute. Hey. And then finding out that the island they're actually living on was an island that had been destroyed because of the Tafiti. But then you restore that island. It's a beautiful. It's just such a great island. So I'm going Moana all the way to my championship game.
Okay, now this is final.
And you're Tangled versus.
I am Tangled
versus Monsters Inc. Oh gosh, what are you going here?
No, I'm Incredibles versus.
No, you never chose between Monsters Inc. and Tangled.
Okay, just kidding.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, Monsters Inc. and Tangled. This is hard. I love Monsters Inc., but I love Tangled too. I don't know. I probably have to go Monsters Inc.
Oh,
I
had a feeling you were going Monsters Inc., but I was thinking maybe Tangled can sneak in there.
I was thinking that too, because coming into this, I was thinking Monsters Inc. is going to go all the way, because that was my favorite Disney movie. But I love Tangled's probably a close second. Those are my first top two, but I'm going to go Monsters Inc. still.
The only thing I would diss against Monsters Inc. and the reason I love Monsters Inc. It just was against the nostalgia factor of Up. Monsters Inc. in another bracket probably goes really far for me. But again, the soundtrack isn't as notable, I would say. I mean, you have
put that thing right where it came from.
I think the funny part about Monsters, my favorite part is when the guy gets infected by the sock. And then the entire SWAT team is screaming 2319, and that guy had to get shaved, and like he was basically excommunicated from the Monsters Incorporation. He got beat up. He got
called multiple times.
Yes, he got destroyed basically.
Yes,
and so I enjoyed that. But I'm surprised you chose it over Tangled because I know your love for Tangled.
I love Tangled, but yes, I love Monsters Inc. And plus, that one came out when I was younger, so I feel like I watched a lot more of Monsters Inc. I think Tangled came up again, like either late elementary school or middle school.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so your matchup is Incredibles versus Monsters Inc., and I am Toy Story versus Moana. For me, it's kind of old school versus new school Disney. Mm-hmm. And it's tough because, yes, Toy Story doesn't have the music that Moana does. But you're telling me every kid in America wasn't singing, "You've got a friend in me."
This is a singing podcast.
It really is. I'm sorry.
You could hear our wonderful voices.
In Toy Story 1, you kind of set up with Buzz and Woody butting heads because, you're not Andy's favorite toy anymore.
Yeah.
And that's just like such a
battle.
It's such a battle and such a minute storyline that they make so big. That's why I loved it so much.
Yeah.
Again, I think I'm going to have to go with my younger self and say Toy Story franchise. I know it's a 1C, it's kind of boring, but Toy Story franchise over Moana. Moana, again, the new school version of Disney Pixar is such a great movie. If you've never watched Moana, go watch Moana. But Toy Story, I feel like, again, every kid has at least watched at least one of the Toy Stories.
Yeah.
So I'm going Toy Story for the championship as my Disney/Pixar Tourney Time winner.
Okay, and I have The Incredibles versus Monsters Inc. And I think, again, I'm going to go Monsters Inc. I knew in my head before we started, I knew that this was going to go all the way. But I just love Monsters Inc. so much. And, I mean, I don't know. Mike is probably my favorite. I just think he was hilarious as a kid, and the whole storyline was hilarious.
It's also a very quotable movie. Yes. I feel like you forgot the file paperwork, Wazowski.
What's her name? Roz.
And he tries to hit on her because who voices him? Billy Crystal, right? I think Billy Crystal voices Mike Wazowski?
I don't know.
I'd have to look that up. But I had a feeling once you brought Monsters Inc. all the way this far, I was like, you can't go against Monsters
I'm
Inc.
gonna go Monsters Inc. It was probably my favorite movie back then. I would love to watch it now. It's just...
So there you have it. The Man2Woman podcast today, going turning time with Disney Pixar movies. Shout out to my great girlfriend, Melanie Schiffer, for hopping on the podcast. She now can listen to a full episode.
About me.
About you. You
Yes.
are in the episode, so you can listen to it all. Thank you guys for supporting. Be sure to look out on YouTube and like and subscribe on there. And then this will also be on Apple Podcasts. Leave a review, leave a rating. Follow us there. Next podcast is probably going to be with my Cherie employee staff. All the ushers there. We've talked about getting on the podcast. So I think there's going to be about 8 or 9 of us on the podcast. So stay tuned for that one. I'm excited for that one. But again, thank you, Melanie, for being on the show today. Do you have any last words?
Nope, I don't think so.
Well, thank you guys again for listening, and we will catch you guys later.